Well, I'm in the Squirrel Pub in Rugby, and I'm talking to Matthew Francis here, who's a very talented author. And today we're launching his book, Ruskies, Beers, Bears and Babushkas. And I want to find out all about the book. And this is his book signing as well in this pub in Rugby, in Warwickshire. So we're talking now before the pub gets full up with people who are desperate to get their signed copy of the book. So that's the hope, isn't it, Matthew?
It is indeed the hope, yes. We brought a lot of books with us, and hopefully we won't be taking any home with us, but yeah, absolutely, yes.
Okay, there's some crates that you can't see that full of hundreds of the books. So either we've got to sell them today in the Squirrel, or I've got to buy them all.
Okay.
Let's find out what the book's all about. Tell me how it came about.
The book came about many years ago, actually, back in 2002. I'd just qualified as a lawyer, but I was working in London in one of the big accountancy firms, and I had a girlfriend called Veronika Strelnikova, who was from the Ukraine, and she'd recommended that Russia was going through such a dynamic transition with the downfall of perestroika, and they were really looking to do business seriously with the West, and that now, in other words, 2002 would be a great time to go over to Russia and help Russian companies do business overseas. And so that's when I decided I'm going to go out there and see what the market's like and set up a business there.
And was she right?
She was absolutely right. However, I've never really understood whether she genuinely believed that it was a good idea, or that she realised that the relationship was coming to an end and this would be a far better way to get rid of me on perhaps a more permanent level. But nevertheless, I think she was right.
Was she trying to punish you, perhaps?
Possibly. And she's actually in the first chapter of the book, because she threatened to cut off all of her fingers and send them to me as proof of her love when we broke up, when the relationship fell apart, and so she was quite extreme, but incredibly beautiful and very intelligent, I think.
Well, one of those helps.
Yes.
I've read it, obviously, and everybody else who I know who's read it just thinks it's totally hilarious. A thing that stands out, one of the things that stands out, is the story about the chandelier in the apartment. Tell us very briefly about that story, about what happened with the chandelier.
Okay, basically, I'd invited somebody back to my place, and she had then invited quite a few more people, and before I knew it, the whole of my house, the whole of my flat was jam-packed with people just drinking and going completely crazy, and basically one of the people decides that they're going to start swinging on the chandelier, which came down, and the police were called, and basically the whole evening ended up with people being thrown out and sent home. But no, it was an unusual evening, but a typical Russian one. Yes.
And I gather it is true that the Russians drink a lot of vodka.
It's absolutely true that they drink a lot of vodka, and you've got to be very careful, because there was actually a village near to where I lived where 17 men died on a Saturday night because they had made their own vodka and drank it, and it wasn't filtered properly, and 17 of them died. I mean, it's very serious.
My word. Well, luckily you obviously survived your trip to Russia. Obviously, today that wouldn't be possible because things have changed in the world.
Yes.
But what advice would you give to somebody thinking about not necessarily going to Russia, but visiting another fairly difficult country to visit?
I think it's all well and good being entrepreneurial and innovative and impulsive and just going and doing something, but looking back, I really should have done a lot more research into the country, the culture, the language. I mean, when I was there was barely any English lettering. It was all Cyrillic lettering everywhere. I didn't even understand where I was going, what streets I was on, what street I was on, because I didn't understand the alphabet. I'd really recommend just taking some time to speak to locals from that area, to do some research and understand the challenges that you could or should be facing if you're silly enough to just suddenly say, I'm just going to go to Russia tomorrow and set up my life there, which probably wasn't a sensible thing to do. So yeah, I would recommend more research.
Okay, that's great. What's on the horizon from you? Because knowing you as I do, I reckon you're going to be doing something equally dangerous soon.
Well, what I'm going to be doing soon is writing another book about another equally dangerous experience, okay. Which was when I, with a friend of mine, took a UK-based powdered biostimulant product company into, of all places, Colombia. So I was the man who helped to take a powdered stimulant product company into Colombia to sell those powdered products over in Colombia. I hasten to add, these are agricultural biostimulants, honestly. So, but that story, I think, needs to be told as well. So yes.
Absolutely, we look forward to that. Thanks very much for talking to me, Matthew Francis, and good luck with the book signing here. There's a few customers come in already, so we'll persuade them to buy one of your signed editions of Rusky, Beers, Bears and Babushkas. Thanks for talking to me.
Tony, thank you.
Yeah!